Aren't you thrilled to do this? All right. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Laura and I am joined by my husband, my willing husband, Chris, who is excited to do this Q&A with me. It's been a while since we had him on and since I just asked some questions in general. So over on Instagram, I had asked you all for questions that you had for me or for us about our family and our weight loss and kind of our life as a carnivore family and what that looks like. You all submitted a ton of questions. We got a lot of great questions, too many for one video. So we're gonna maybe categorize them. I'm gonna hit some of them today and then we will do some more in the future. Maybe this will end up being a video series. My guess is Chris doesn't want to do them all, but either way, he's here now and he's gonna answer some questions with us. If you are new here, you can check out both of our weight loss journeys. We have some intro videos. I never remember which side. I think it's that side. One of those sides. And you can check out Chris's entire weight loss journey, how he lost 120 pounds, all the things that he's healed, and then myself as well from the intro video that's pinned on the front of my channel. In general, though, we are going to review a little bit of the high levels of that and answer some of your questions today. So the first question that we have is, what got you started on carnivore? And for that, I'm going to let Chris just tell you. I'll say this. We had heard about keto first, and we both were maxed out. I was 263 pounds. How much did you weigh?
About 300.
Yeah, Chris was about 300 pounds. So we both were really sick and really unhealthy and knew we needed to lose weight. We also knew because Chris was diabetic that it had to involve no sugar. And so we kind of found keto
And I always hated vegetables, so yeah. I found carnivore pretty quick and dropped the vegetables, much to her dismay. And would only occasionally eat a couple little broccoli florets if she was giving me the stink eye, and then just stopped altogether. And
those vegetables are supposed to be healthy, right? So I thought you had to force down vegetables. We're eating healthy, we got to eat a bunch of vegetables. So
that didn't last too long, and then I just went full carnivore and she started overhearing stuff I was listening to or stuff I was reading about, and then
once I realized I could eat a bunch of steak instead of like a grilled chicken salad with my low-fat ranch, it still wasn't as satisfying to me. Plus, both of us are pretty triggered by any kind of like keto treat. And we got hung up along the way a few times from any kind of treats or keto chocolates and all the stuff. Like that never went well for us. So cutting out all of that and just sticking to a bunch of steaks was a lot easier for us on carnivore.
Yeah.
But all the people who share their story, we originally heard about it from Carnivore Cast, the podcast, from Sean Baker and his story, and everybody that shared those types of things. The Low Carb MD podcast, places like that were really big for us. So just really kind of binge listening to all those podcasts was what helped us. Let's see. Oh yeah, did one of you decide to do carnivore before the other, or was it mutual? So Chris definitely was the one who somehow convinced me not to use vegetables. And I'll say, he couldn't really convince me because I wouldn't believe it from him. It wasn't until I tried it myself and realized how good I felt and then how bad I felt just eating a salad, that's what ended up convincing me of it. How long did it take for you to lose the weight, and did you always do one meal a day?
So for me, it took about 9 months, and I started with 2 meals a day, and I quickly found that whenever I've eaten in the past, I eat till I'm stuffed. So if I sit down and eat, I'm not hungry for a second meal for quite a while. So I was forcing myself to do it, and I figured, well, I'll just go to town on the one meal and then just go one meal. So it probably was within about 2 months of when I started that I was down to one meal a day, and with some other longer fasts in between.
Yeah, I was about the same, and then we started learning more about fasting and really digging into that to help his diabetes and stuff that Dr. Jason Fung talks a lot about fasting, which is where we picked up most of our kind of fasting techniques. And so we started doing one meal a day and then incorporating a 48-hour fast once or twice a week. And then, that's the shortest way to recap. How did we both lose 120 pounds in less than a year? 1 meal a day of steak and 48-hour fasts once or twice a week. And that's kind of the 2-sentence version of it. But there's other videos that talk about it more in detail. In addition to carnivore, I should have thought about this one before we filmed. In addition to carnivore, what would you say your top 3 best lifestyle changes or health advantage or kind of lifestyle changes have been in general? That's a really good question, but we should have thought about that one.
Top 3. For me, some big things have been exercise. Even if I've not been consistent with the gym, I walk like 4 to 5 miles a day every day, and I do it in the sun. So number 2 would be like getting sun. I consistently, even through 120 degree weather here in Arizona, I'm out walking every day in the sun. And I feel like that's been a real big plus for me.
I know I focused a lot on sleep. We're very different with sleep. What's interesting is with carnivore, both of us need less sleep, but I have to make sleep a priority for me, right? If I get too little sleep, I'm challenging, but also it affects my health, and I can stall out on weight loss. I can really start having some health issues. So I have to make sleep a priority, like good quality sleep. And I definitely am somebody who needs 8 hours, when really in the past I was sleeping 9-10 hours a night and still wasn't feeling rested and satisfied. So we have made sleep a big priority, but we both sleep less. Like Chris goes to bed after I do and wakes up before I do.
I can't sleep more than 6 hours since I started carnivore.
But before, he was sleeping 7-8 hours and then falling asleep on the couch watching TV every time. And that's not something that happens anymore. So other videos talk about specific health issues. Like Chris used to have sleep apnea and type 2 diabetes and doesn't anymore. And so, all of that's changed. The other advantages that we've had as far as lifestyle goes, like I have had a lot of arthritis, back and knee issues, and all of that pain and inflammation has completely gone away, cutting out all those inflammatory foods. Like steak is so healing, and fat, and just makes me feel so good and kind of like almost like light in your body. Or the weight on my knees, the previous back issues that I've had, I really don't have those anymore. What are some non-scale victories that you think you've had?
Just feeling so much better. No more aches and pains. No more ibuprofen twice a day, every day. Sleeping solid through the night, not having to sleep as much. Obviously, the obvious ones, like being able to not be nervous when you put the seatbelt on in an airplane, or shop in the normal sections of the store for clothing, things like that.
Not break a patio furniture chair.
Yeah, not break chairs or worry about breaking chairs when you sit in them. That's a big one. Yeah.
Those were good ones. Lots of good ones. I just love being able to I don't think I've ever, my whole life, just worn a t-shirt. I've always had on tons of layers. In the middle of the summer, and it's Arizona here, I've never just put shorts and a t-shirt on it and went out of the house. And now I feel so much more comfortable just being able to do that. I could have done it before, but it was about me. Like, I didn't feel comfortable doing that. I actually got a lot of questions. People want to know, we have a very non-traditional family, and they want to know, what do I do for work, and how is it that things came about that Chris is a stay-at-home dad, and kind of how do we live this little backwards life? So what do I do for work? I'll be slightly vague and just say I work for a large corporate company, and I am a manager in a sales and retention department for a call center. So pretty basic, intense corporate call center job, a lot of metrics, coaching, agents. Like, y'all probably talk to somebody on the phone that I work with on a regular basis. And we actually met working at the same company for many, many years ago, and both worked there for a really long time together. We both had gotten promotions, we both were traveling, and it just came to the fact that it wasn't working anymore. I remember us meeting up in the common area of this large call center and saying well, one of the kids is sick at daycare, who's gonna watch him? I can't leave, I left last time. He had meetings, it just was too much for us. And on top of that, with both of us traveling, our kids were sick all the time in daycare.
And we had a second kid, so the cost of daycare was almost the whole salary anyway. So we just made the decision, and her kind of career progression was in a better spot than mine at the time. And I wasn't exactly as happy and fulfilled where I was at.
Right. We were in different departments, and I had just
also my arm.
Yeah, kind of at the same time, we had made that decision for our family. Like, I was going to keep working financially. We were going to work it out. Chris drove Uber on the side for a lot of years while we made ends meet. So I would walk home, come in from work. He'd have the dinner on the table, kids ready to go, and he'd leave and then go drive Uber for a few hours. But right in the middle of that transition was when Chris contracted the necrotizing fasciitis, the flesh-eating bacteria on his arm. This is all a big scar. We talked about that more in another video, and maybe we'll do like just a specific video on that. That might be a good thing to do. So it really kind of a lot of things compounded where it just ended up that way. Like I said, we did a lot of other things over the years to make ends meet with side jobs and Chris driving Uber and kind of just piecing things together, and it's really worked out well. And now over the last year, we've had the ability to like make decisions about where we want our kids to be in school and not have to deal with the virtual school and the back and forth like a lot of families have had to do. And that's been a huge blessing for us to be in this place where, we've been able to kind of put our kids where we want to as far as school goes, because we do have the stay-at-home parent, which is definitely a luxury. But along the way, we definitely have made a lot of sacrifices. We skipped a lot of vacations, and we did a lot of odd side jobs to make things work so that we were able to kind of make it to this point. But it's definitely, he's a much better stay-at-home parent than I am. He does all like the laundry and the cooking and the cleaning, and definitely takes care of all of us. He's amazing. How has your weight loss journey and way of eating affected your marriage?
Well, we always had fun eating together before.
We did.
It just was the wrong thing. So replacing that with eating the right thing, and that being a big part of our daily lives, I think has been a really good thing. And we feed off each other and we motivate each other that way. So in that way, it's been really good.
We used to always be the one kind of talking the other one into having a cheat day, and now we're usually the one talking the other one out of it. So you feel like you don't have to be strong all the time because you have somebody else who's kind of knows what you're going through and helping to keep you on track. But we definitely always had our like put the kids in bed and then eat a bunch of junk food at night. So now it's been a good bonding for us to talk about meat and steak and kind of learn about all this stuff
do
together.
This kind of thing together.
Yeah. He's to the back end of all this social media stuff and kind of keeps everything running and smooth and talks me off a ledge whenever necessary and keeps me sane. So that makes me able to do what I do. We joke sometimes too. We'll get done eating a meal and he's like, okay, go to work and then I'll take care of all the dishes. So he'll sit and do all the dishes. And then I just go sit on the couch and post about it. But I couldn't keep up with all of this if I didn't have Chris able to help with everything else as well too. So
also being physically healthy kind of has its benefits as well.
Right, definitely. It's been good. Nothing but good things. So along with that, how do you maintain carnivore with the kids? I do think we need a full video just on like the kids and the family and maybe let them talk to you guys about what they eat. Chris cooks 3 meals a day for them.
They're not exactly carnivore, but
Right.
It's easy for us. I guess the question is, how do we maintain carnivore while feeding the kids? They eat pretty much like paleo-ish, but so nothing that I'm making for them is tempting.
We're not that desperate over their sweet potatoes or their broccoli or their zucchini, things that they eat like that. If we don't keep food in the house that's going to be tempting for us. They don't eat snacks. They're not eating 2 o'clock in the afternoon carb snacks. And so that makes it a lot easier for us. When they're eating protein for 3 meals a day, they're not really hungry for snacks. And that's just not really an option. So we don't keep things in the house that are going to be tempting for them. If we go out somewhere, they might have something different and that's a treat and that's fun with their friends. But it helps us a lot in those weak moments when it's late at night or you've had a stressful day or you're just having a rough time and having some cravings. Like there's not that food in the house that's tempting for us. So it's a huge reason why we changed the kids' diet in the first place, because we didn't want to have to deal with the temptations, which is probably bad because it's like their health, but selfishly I needed it out of the house. Do you ever let your kids hear you talk about weight loss? That is something that we talked a lot about early on and made a big focus for us. Like, we never talked about how mommy and daddy used to be fat or tried not to use terms like that. We really have focused the most on mommy and daddy used to eat too much sugar, and that's what made us unhealthy. And if you ask them now, like, what happens if you eat too much sugar, they say you get sick. Like, a little bit of sugar for them is okay, but too much sugar is what made us sick. Sometimes they'll say now, like, just eat one bite. Like, why can't you eat one bite of sugar? And so we try to remind them that, like, we had a lot of sugar before, and if I have one bite of sugar, then I want to have a lot of sugar. Sometimes it just makes you crazy and you want sugar. And so that's why I can't have any now, because I used to be sick and it would make me sick again. So we kind of relate Chris's diabetes to that a lot. I don't know. But we really don't talk about, like, I lost 2 pounds, I'm skinny or not, or we don't. They do know what fasting means, though. And, like, if they're full at their meal, Nathaniel sometimes is like, I'm done with this. I want to fasting it till tomorrow. So that's what he thinks. Leftovers are just, I'm full, I'm not hungry right now means fasting, which I think is a healthy attitude for them to have. They don't have to finish their meal if they're not hungry. Have you guys thought about doing a blog with all of your favorite products?
I had the idea that she should do a video and just kind of show everything that we use every day, because there's a lot of cool things that I wish I would have had before that we use almost all the time that can make a big difference in quality of cook. Not just like some nice grill or something, but like little tools in the kitchen that are really cheap. And so, like
a cookie sheet and a cooling rack is something we use every single day, and who would have thought, like with meat, that's your number one most common used thing. So I do think that a video idea like that would be coming. Do we eat organ meats? We're always pretty open about the fact that it doesn't sound very appealing to us. I know there's a lot of information about nutrients behind it. It's just not that appealing to us. Somebody sent us some recently, and so maybe we'll try it. We'll see. And, same thing goes for coffee. Neither one of us have been a coffee fan. We don't even own a coffee maker. We have no interest in drinking coffee, so that is not really something that's in there for us. Who cooks a better steak?
It depends on the type of steak and the method.
That's true.
Her sometimes, me sometimes. Me most of the time. Her sometimes.
If it's like a big variety of meat or anything on the actual like Weber grill, you know, like he's cooking for a crowd, okay, he's very good at that. But if it's like one singular steak, a ribeye on the Auto Wild, I have that mastered because I do it so often. There is no comparison on that. So it kind of depends, but I have learned I've come the farthest, most improved, right? I've definitely come the farthest over the last few years. Does Chris do lower fat than you? I would say yes, right? We don't really pay attention or track it, but he does eat leaner cuts than me, mainly because you eat more, right?
I do. I kind of leverage fat. So I need a certain quantity of food that I need to feel full. So I will eat at leaner cuts that are lower in fat so that I can eat that much without overeating on energy. So I'm a big fan of Dr. Ted Naiman and the protein to energy. So where I may have New York strip, which is less fat, and she may have ribeye, which is higher fat, I'll eat twice as much as her.
Right.
So it kind of equals out in some ways, but and if I really want to lean down, I'll go down to like ground beef and chicken breast and stuff like that, and that really will drive that weight loss. So I can eat about 2 pounds a day, 1.5 to 2 pounds. So that's a big difference between 2 pounds of ribeye or 2 pounds of ground beef, as far as how much energy you're intaking on that.
And I think we both leverage it where he might eat real lean for a week if he's trying to hit a specific weight loss goal or break through a stall, when I just might fast. Like he does some fasts with me. I think we're actually going to do, it's been a while, but we're going to do a 72-hour fast starting tomorrow. We're going to go to Fogo for lunch. So we'll do a 72-hour fast after tomorrow. But I would probably do fast more regularly when Chris would rather just maybe lean cuts for a few days instead. So it really depends. I think that's where it's hard for us to give specific advice to people because they want to know exact like fat to protein ratios that we use or exact calories that we have. And really, you know, it's just not sustainable for us to pay attention to those things. I can't track calories every day. It's just not fun for me. I'm not going to enjoy it. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to worry about my fat to protein ratio. I have to eat the meat that I enjoy because pizza sounds really good most of the time. And if I'm not like really enjoying what I'm eating, then I'm just gonna give up and go back to something else. And that's why we don't eat stuff like liver very often, because all I can think of in that moment is like, this is torture and I'd rather go eat carbs. And so the way that this is sustainable for us is just to eat the stuff that's like really amazing tasting for us. And then, you know, leverage other things over time. That's how it's been sustainable. I think I said the word sustainable 40 times, but did you ever consider cutting out cheese permanently for weight loss? And it literally goes to what I just said of like, that sounds miserable. So I have had, you guys know, I can't eat cheese slices for snacks. I can't just like graze on cheese, but to just say like, I'm never eating cheese again to stay thin, like I don't need to be thin that much. Like,
by the way, I haven't eaten cheese in about 6 weeks, and
really?
I've lost about 15 pounds.
Don't tell me that. Don't tell me that. I can't do it, okay? I have cut out all of my cheese snacks, but I still will, like I had some feta with my steak today. I did a cheese wrap. You had a bite of my cheese wrap the other day. One bite. But stuff like that. I'm keeping it to a small amount within my meal, but both of us got like real in the cheese addict snacking problem over the last year. And so we're doing a lot better without that. So at this point, this is good enough, right? And he's not saying you're never going to eat it again, right?
No, I just recognize
that it was a problem.
That it's a problem, and
right.
I don't miss it unless
right.
it's that good stuff.
Yeah. What have you discovered is the best method for converting people to a carnivore diet?
Don't convert. Don't
right.
try to convert. That's like trying to change somebody's mind about anything these days.
Right.
It's a pointless conversation to have. You just do you, and they see your results. If they really care enough, they'll ask, and then if they are open to it, they'll do it. But you're not going to really be able to convert somebody.
Right. I'm a big believer, and obviously, because that's what I do, is just share your story. And you never know who's watching. I mean, I didn't even hardly mention it. We recently bought a house, and then a few months after we bought our house, the mortgage broker that we worked with messaged me and said, oh, by the way, my wife and I have both been carnivore. We both lost 35 pounds. Like, I didn't try to convince him to be carnivore. He just kind of heard about it through working with us, and then started watching on social media and just kind of saw us live our lives and saw the results and was intrigued enough to try it for himself. So you kind of just have to let people figure it out for themselves, because nobody's going to be convinced of anything. How do you combat negative stigma from family and friends about eating only meat? I mean, it kind of goes back to the same thing of we don't really talk about it. If we go somewhere and visit family, I offer to cook and bring the food so that it's not an issue for them. We happily cook for other people when they come to our house, but I
think we're lucky that we don't really have anybody that has a problem with it in our family. I don't think anybody.
No. I mean, I've had some coworkers and stuff over the years, but I think that a lot of that kind of stems from jealousy or just not understanding it. But for the most part, it's not like, it's different now because of social media, but we really didn't go around announcing it. We lost all of our weight before really we told anybody what we were doing. And the same thing with trying to convince other people and trying to convince our family members that this is healthy for us. Like, we just kind of did our thing and let the results speak for themselves. When you see us before and you see us now, you can't deny that we're obviously in a healthier place right now. And so anybody who was questioning if this is working for us or not, those things have kind of faded since the sustainability of our health has happened. I think I am going to break here for now. I do have so many more good questions that I'm going to try to categorize and do later. A lot of questions about food specifically, some questions about like more specific medical conditions, cholesterol everybody's asking about, and then also a lot more questions about fasting and weight loss and our family and kind of how we deal with cravings. We will make a series, or I will make a series. We'll see how much Chris wants to be involved. Feel free to put some comments down below and make sure to add those to our list for future videos. And don't forget to subscribe so that when we put more videos out, you can make sure you check them out. Thanks, guys.